Katie was dating Bart. That's the rumor going around. His lawyer says it's false, and it's the reason he just got a death threat. That's not even the biggest thing this week. There's audio where people swear they hear someone asking if Nolan was dead. A forensic expert just picked that recording apart, and what he found changes things. There's a judge comparing this case to one of the most infamous killings in Mississippi history. A second autopsy just dropped a detail that's splitting people who've agreed on everything else. And Nolan's mom just made a legal move that clears the way for her to sue. Before we get into it, if you're following this case, subscribe now so you don't miss what happens next. Let's get into it. A dispatch call went out from the boat Nolan's friends were on. The afternoon he disappeared. It went to a private towing company. On that call, a teenager tells the dispatcher they're at the west tip of Horn Island and their bilge pump has stopped working. Commotion in the background. Hold music. The call drops before they can reach a captain. That's the original. That's what the Mississippi Department of Marine Resources actually released. Then TMZ published an enhanced version. Clean up the background noise, they say, and you hear a lot more. Someone possibly saying Nolan's name. Oh my God. What sounds like check his chest? Wake up. A caller yelling for everyone to shut up. Officials have always said Nolan wasn't even on that boat when this call happened. So why would anyone be checking a chest or saying his name on a call about a sinking boat? A digital forensics expert named Robert Freed went on News Nation and said, not so fast. He compared TMZ's version to the original and found the enhanced recording runs 20 seconds longer with a completely different digital fingerprint. Account numbers and phone numbers visible in the original had been redacted in the new one in a way that could strip out other data too. He's not calling it fake. He's calling it unverified, and he wants the original metadata before anyone treats those extra phrases as real. So if you saw a headline calling this debunked, that's not accurate either. It's disputed. Nobody with the technical skill to check it has confirmed what people online think they're hearing. Keep that in mind for everything else in this video. Jackson County Sheriff John Ledbetter confirmed the FBI has been helping examine digital evidence in this case. Sounds huge. The reason is mostly procedural. Horn Island is federal land, so the sheriff's office routinely works with the FBI out there. It's not automatically a sign of homicide. What the FBI did confirm to ABC News is that they're addressing interstate threats made against people connected to this case. People on more than one side of this story have been getting threatened, and it's serious enough that the federal government is involved.
And if this is authentic radio transmission between the dispatcher and the caller, then certainly this turns it on its head. They're observing him injured, asking if he's dead. Whoever on that call, with the technology we have now and with interviews amongst the folks who were there, or the phone that the emergency call came from, the dispatcher has that number. Someone can get it. Then you'll go to the person who made the call and say, what did you see? This is real easy if that is the case. So we'll see what they do with this evidence. The fact that there's some audio from the dispatcher where the person calling asks, or in the background, one or the other, asks, oh my God, is he dead? So that's a whole new level of evidence that I'm interested in seeing where they go with that.
Judge Greg Mathis spent years as an actual judge on Michigan's 36th District Court before his show. So when he talks about grand juries, he's speaking from real experience. On the podcast, The Art of Dialogue, Mathis said he doesn't believe Nolan drowned. He believes Nolan was killed. Why would friends leave someone behind on a remote island once they realized he'd left his phone with them? How was he supposed to get home without a phone and without a boat? He's also flagged questions around possibly deleted content on Nolan's Snapchat. He was careful to call this his preliminary read, not a verdict. Days later, Mathis went further, reacting to a second independent autopsy Nolan's family ordered. It was conducted in Washington, D.C., by Dr. Roger Mitchell, chair of pathology at Howard University, reportedly funded by Colin Kaepernick. Family attorney Ben Crump made the findings public. One detail: red discoloration on the back of Nolan's head and neck. Mathis called it bruising. He suggested it looks like someone had a hand pressed against the back of Nolan's head. Then he compared the case to Emmett Till, murdered in Mississippi in 1955. That comparison didn't sit well with everyone. Plenty online called it hyperbolic before any investigation has concluded. Even Crump and the NAACP have stuck with the word discoloration. One more thing worth knowing: certain neck structures weren't sent from Mississippi with the rest of Nolan's remains. That's why the examiner can't rule out a neck injury. Not that he found one, that he couldn't rule one out. The state autopsy and toxicology results still haven't been made public. The day Nolan's body was found, the sheriff's department said no foul play was suspected. That hasn't been formally reversed. What's changed is momentum. Nolan's family, backed by Kaepernick, Tyler Perry, Byron Allen, and Reverend Al Sharpton, is pushing for a grand jury, and the Jackson County DA appears on board. A grand jury doesn't mean charges. It means citizens review the evidence and decide if there's enough to move forward. Mathis isn't the only TV personality on this.
Breaking news tonight in the Nolan Wells investigation: enhanced distress call audio bombshell. Good evening. I'm Nancy Grace. This is Crime Stories. I want to thank you for being with us.
Nancy Grace has hit it repeatedly on Crime Stories, focused mostly on the cell phone data. The location info from Nolan's Snapchat and from a tracking app called Life 360 don't match. His mother says that when the phone was finally recovered, there was nothing on it from that day. Grace has said plainly that authorities jumped the gun ruling out foul play, and that she suspects it herself, without calling it a homicide outright. None of that is legal evidence. But it's why a missing person report on a barrier island most people had never heard of turned into a national story with celebrity money and a reward attached. This part involves two people who are not public figures by choice over a claim that looks flatly untrue. An old high school photo started circulating, showing Bart Edmiston Jr., a former teammate of Nolan's, next to a young woman. Social media said that woman was Katie McCormack, the same young woman friends say Nolan was talking to on the island. From there, the theory wrote itself. History between them, jealousy, a motive for why nobody went back for Nolan. Bart's attorney, Russ Latino, confirmed the photo is real, but says the woman in it isn't Katie McCormack, and that Bart never met Katie before the tragedy. His exact words: Bart is not now, nor has he ever been, in a relationship with Katie McCormack. He called the theory wholly fabricated. It didn't stay online. Bart received what Latino called a credible death threat over it. That's the reason his family is now pursuing legal action against the people spreading it, and it's tied directly to that FBI statement on interstate threats. Latino also says Bart cooperated fully from the start, handing over his boat, GPS data, and phone. He did not kill Nolan and did not contribute to his death. Katie McCormack hasn't spoken publicly. Her sister Gracie told the Daily Mail that Katie assumed Nolan was getting on the boat with his friends, and that she didn't think they'd leave him behind. Katie was with a different group that day, and later left the island with her brother and his fiancée. The real conflict isn't the dating rumor, it's the timeline. One version has Nolan telling his friend Warren Hudson he'd get a ride home later with another group. Another version has his friends telling him to get on the boat, and Nolan choosing to stay. His best friend, Javen Williams, last saw him with a girl and other friends after 4. Both of them left their phones on the boat. Police listed him in black shorts. His mother says photos from that day show blue shorts. His Snapchat went quiet for the full 24 hours before he disappeared, showing a location that didn't match his phone. None of it proves anyone did anything to Nolan, but it explains why his parents don't trust a simple drowning explanation. There's also a legal move that hasn't gotten as much attention as the audio or the autopsy, but matters just as much. Nolan's mother, Christine Wansley, filed a petition to be named administrator of his estate. That's the legal step that would allow her to actually sue over his death once the investigation gives her something to point to. She's separately subpoenaed Meta, TikTok, WhatsApp, and Life 360, demanding account records, login history, and location data tied to Nolan's accounts, after saying his Snapchat was wiped clean by the time she got his phone back. No charges have been filed. The state autopsy and toxicology results are still not public. The enhanced audio is unverified, with real doubts raised by an expert. The dating rumor has been directly denied by Bart's own attorney. It's now part of a defamation case, not a confirmed fact. What is confirmed? A second autopsy found discoloration on Nolan's neck that couldn't rule out an injury. Judge Mathis has said publicly he sees reasonable suspicion of a crime. There's real momentum toward a grand jury. Investigators lean toward accidental drowning early on. But the full state report that would actually confirm a cause of death still hasn't come out, which is exactly why speculation has filled the gap. Until that report lands, or the grand jury moves, drowning stays the working theory, not a closed case. A grieving family on one side, a group of friends who say they did nothing wrong on the other, an internet in between that's already caused real threats and real lawsuits before a single official conclusion has been reached. We're staying on this one. Subscribe so you catch the next update the moment it drops.